Well, hello there, sweet friends. It's me, Bible Class Betty, and today we're diving into a dramatic and sombering chapter in Israel's history, Judges chapter 9 through chapter 10, verse 5. And oh my, what a deal it is! We're talking about Abimelech, the man who wanted to be king but didn't have a kingdom from God. Well, now before we dive into today's lesson, we need to take a moment to look at our vocabulary. You see, the Bible uses words that we might not hear much anymore, or sometimes they mean something quite different than we're used to. So let's make sure we understand them first. That way, the message will be even clearer. All right, let's get started. Our first word is abundance. Abundance. Well, abundance means a large quantity of something, plenty. What about ambush? Do you know ambush? Why, an ambush is a trap. It's where people hide and wait to attack by surprise. It's a sneaky and sudden, often used in battle tactic by enemies to catch somebody off guard. Our next word is armor bearer. Why, an armor bearer was someone who carried a warrior shield. They sometimes carried their extra weapons too. They weren't just assistants, they were trusted companions in battle, ready to protect and support their leader. How about bramble? Why, a bramble is a briar. It's a kind of a plant like a rose or a blackberry. It has a woody stem covered with thick thorns or prickles. Brushwood. Brushwood, why, those are small branches or twigs that have been cut from trees or shrubs. Brushwood. Despise. Our next word is integrity. Integrity means total honesty and sincerity, doing what's right even when no one is watching. It's about being truthful, trustworthy, and consistent in your character. Millstone. Why, a millstone is one of two large circular stones used for grinding out seeds or grain into flour. One stone stays still and the other turns, crushing the grain between them. In Bible times, millstones were essential for daily bread making, and they were also heavy, very heavy. Raise. Raise. Why, to raise means to destroy something completely by knocking it down or breaking it into pieces. It's not just damage, it's total demolition. Raise. Oh, refuge. Refuge. Refuge is a place of shelter or protection from danger. It's where you run when the storm comes or when trouble is near. In the Bible, God is often called our refuge. Why, He's our safe place, our hiding space, our strong tower. So when we see that word, think safety and peace. Refuge. Revile. Oh, revile means to speak to or about someone in an insulting or hateful way. It's when the words are used to tear down, mock, or shame someone. Revile. Sow. Sow. Why, to sow means to spread something, like seeds over a wide area. In Bible times, farmers would sow grain by tossing it across the field, trusting it would take root and grow. To sow. Stir up. Stir up. Why, to stir up means to cause someone to feel a strong emotion or a desire to act. Stir up. Stronghold. Stronghold. Why, a stronghold is a fortified place, a fortress built for protection and safety. In ancient times, people would run to a stronghold when an enemy came near. Oh, treacherous. Treacherous. Oh, something or someone is treacherous when it can't be trusted. It's dangerous or deceitful and hard to deal with. In the Bible, treacherous people often pretend to be loyal, but they turn against others when it suits them. A path may look smooth, but it leads the way to trouble. So when we see the word treacherous, think betrayal, hidden danger. That's treacherous. Abimelech was Gideon's son, but unlike his father, he did not seek the Lord. He schemed, he manipulated, why, he even destroyed his own family to grab more power. He crowned himself king. But it wasn't a throne that was built on righteousness. It was built on ambition and fear and betrayal. Oh, and what happens when we build anything without God? We'll see how Abimelech's rule crumbles, how division leads to destruction, and how God's justice always finds its way. He was a king in title, but not in spirit. That's why we call this lesson Abimelech, the kingdomless king. Well, before we get started, let's be sure and review our chapter rhymes from the last few weeks. To drive a tent peg must have been a chore, but that's what Jael did in Judges chapter 4. Deborah and Barak sing a new happy jive, celebrating the Lord and Jael in Judges 5. Gideon tore Baal and Asheroth to sticks. He did it by night in Judges 6. Gideon and just 300 strong men took over Midian in Judges 7. Zebah and Zalmunna suffer the same fate. Gideon kills both of them in Judges 8. Well, when do chapters 9 and 10 take place? Again, most scholars think between 1450 BC and 1000 BC. The precise dates are still debated. The events in Judges 9 occurred within one generation of Gideon overthrowing the Midianites in chapters 7 and 8. Where are we? Well, Gideon's son lived near Orpha, which is in the territory of Manasseh. Now, Jotham will give an address in this lesson to the men of Shechem from Mount Zerabim. And when we finally get towards the end, Abimelech, why, he's gonna be killed in Thebez. Who will we meet in these chapters? Why, first, of course, we're going to talk a little bit about Gideon. Remember, He was the fifth judge of Israel. God used him to free Israel from oppression of the Midianites. He was given the name Jerubbaal, which means let Baal contend for himself. Yeah, that was in chapter 6, verse 32. Good job. We'll meet Abimelech. He's the son of Gideon with his concubine. He is usually counted as the sixth judge of Israel, although some people dispute whether he counts because he was not a godly man. Next, we'll meet Jotham. Jotham was the youngest son of Gideon. And then there's Gaal, a man of Shechem who rebelled against Abimelech's rule. Well, open up your Bibles and your hearts, and let's learn what happens when we chase crowns without a calling. There's a warning here, but also a reminder. God sees, God knows, and God raises up true leaders in His time. Oh, do you see my Bible, friends? Take a closer look. There are colors to help us understand what we're reading. The words in blue show us the names of people. The words in green point us to places, to cities. The words highlighted in yellow are quotes. Those are people speaking. And when you see words in red, that's extra special. That means it's God speaking. Now that we know what to look for, let's begin reading together. Verse 1, Abimelech's conspiracy. Now Abimelech, the son of Jerubbaal, Gideon, went to Shechem to his mother's relatives and said to them and to the whole clan of his mother's family, say in the ears of the leaders of Shechem, which is better for you, that all 70 of the sons of Jerubbaal rule over you, or that one rule over you? Remember also that I am your bone and your flesh. As soon as the son of Gideon's concubine, Abimelech would traditionally be considered part of his mother's family, not his father's. Customarily, the son and his mother would have stayed with the mother's family and be visited from time to time by his father. Remember, Gideon lived in Ophrah, and Abimelech's concubine was in Shechem. Perhaps Abimelech's half-brothers looked down on him. We don't know. We are told that Abimelech goes to Shechem to get help from his mother's family to support his claim of leadership. He gives the impression that all of Gideon's sons are wanting to rule over the people. And why would they put up with that when they could just have one to rule over them? Him. And his mother's relatives spoke all these words on his behalf to the ears of all the leaders of Shechem, and their hearts inclined to follow Abimelech. For they said, he is our brother. And they gave him 70 pieces of silver out of the house of Baal-Beroth, an idol with which Abimelech hired worthless and reckless fellows who followed him. Why, the men of Shechem agree with Abimelech's plan and even offer him financial support. 70 pieces of silver. That isn't a huge sum, but it does demonstrate their support of Abimelech's cause. Abimelech uses the funds to hire a gang of thugs and scoundrels to carry out his plan. Verse 5, and he went to his father's house in Ophrah and killed his brothers, the sons of Jerubbaal, Gideon, 70 men, on one stone. But Jotham, the youngest son of Jerubbaal, was left, for he hid himself. And all the leaders of Shechem came together, and all Beth Milo, and they went and made Abimelech king by the oak of the pillar of Shechem. Abimelech puts to death any person who might have a stronger claim to leadership than his own half-brothers. Why, they weren't killed in a fair fight. They were slaughtered on one stone. Only the youngest brother of Abimelech's brothers is able to escape by hiding. He will appear later in this story. Abimelech will not be the first king in Israel, but he will be the first to be crowned. At the coronation, or the crowning ceremony, took place at the exact place where Joshua had erected the pillar of witness, Israel's renewal of their covenant with God, back in Joshua 24. This stone that once witnessed Israel's devotion to serving God is now the place where a very greedy man goes to murderous lengths to make sure everyone will serve him. Verse 7. And when it was told to Jotham, he went up and stood on the top of Mount Gerizim and cried out loud and said to them, Listen to me, you leaders of Shechem, that God may listen to you. The trees once went out to anoint a king over them, and they said to the olive tree, Reign over us. But the olive tree said to them, Shall I leave my abundance, by which gods and men are honored, to go and hold sway over trees? And the trees said to a fig tree, You come reign over us. But the fig tree said to them, Shall I leave my sweetness and my good fruit to go hold sway over the trees? And the trees said to the vine, You come reign over us. And the vine said to them, Shall I leave my wine that cheers God and men to hold sway over the trees? Then all the trees said to the bramble, the sticker bush, You come reign over us. And the bramble said to the trees, If in good faith you are anointing me king over you, then come, take refuge, safety in my shade. But if not, let fire come out of the bramble and devour the cedars of Lebanon. Why, when Jotham, Gideon's younger son, who escaped, is told of Abimelech's crowning and ceremony, he climbs up to the side of the mountain of Mount Gerizim to the south of Shechem. Jotham is an 800-foot mountaintop overlooking Shechem. This would have created an amphitheater so that everyone at the coronation could hear his words. His story has four main characters: the olive, the fig, the vine, and the bramble. It has two obvious morals. Only disreputable individuals feel the need to lord over others. Those with worthwhile occupations are already busy making a contribution to society. Those who seek honor without personal merit, and those who grant it unjustly, will become a source of misery for one another. His story speaks of wine that cheers God when it is used in sacrifices in worship practice. When his story speaks of the fire consuming even the cedars of Lebanon, it means that even the most influential people of the land will not escape the devastation that the poorly chosen leader brings. Verse 16, he's still talking. Now therefore, If you acted in good faith and integrity when you made Abimelech king, and if you have dealt well with Jerubbaal, Gideon, and his house, and have done to him as his deeds deserve, for my father fought for you and risked his life and delivered you from the hand of Midian, and you have risen up against my father's house this day, and have killed his sons, 70 men, on one stone, and have made Abimelech, the son of his female servant, king over the leaders of Shechem, because he's your relative. If you then have acted in good faith and with integrity with Jerubbaal, Gideon, and with his house to this day, then rejoice in Abimelech. Let also him rejoice with you. But if not, let fire come out from Abimelech and devour the leaders of Shechem and Beth Milo. And let fire come out of the leaders of Shechem and from Beth Milo and devour Abimelech. And Jotham ran away and fled and went to Beer and lived there, because Abimelech was his brother. Oh my, Jotham lays out the evidence so the people can draw their own conclusions. Why, if they had acted honorably and fairly in the treatment of Gideon and his family, then he wishes them mutual joy upon both them and his brother Abimelech. However, suppose the revolt of the people in Shechem, financed and Abimelech carried out against Gideon's family, was not in good faith. Why, in that case, he calls for fire from Abimelech to consume the citizens of Shechem and Beth Milo. Then Jotham runs for his life to Beer to live. Verse 22, the downfall of Abimelech. Sounds like we're going to find out it was not in good faith. Abimelech ruled over Israel 3 years, and God sent an evil spirit between Abimelech and the leaders of Shechem. And the leaders of Shechem dealt treacherously with Abimelech, that the violence done to the 70 sons of Jerubbaal might come on their blood be laid on Abimelech, their brother, who killed them, and on the men of Shechem, who strengthened his hands to kill his brother. So after the honeymoon lasted 3 years, whatever harmony had become between them had deteriorated. The people that Abimelech relied on to attain his present position now make him the target of their evil dealings. Why, God sent spirits of contempt between the two of them. Oh, we knew this wouldn't last because it wasn't of God. And the leaders of Shechem put men in ambush against him on the mountaintops, and they robbed all who passed by them along the way. And it was told to Abimelech, and Gaal, the son of Ebed, moved into Shechem with his relatives, and the leaders of Shechem put confidence in him. So, if traveling along one of the main thoroughfares was no longer safe, the economy would suffer. The people would blame Abimelech for not providing adequate protection. Around this time, Gaal, a well-known man of Shechem, who has recently returned with a crowd of relatives, pushes to the front. Under his leadership, grumbling will spread into the open revolt. And they went out into the field and gathered grapes from their vineyards and trod them and held a festival. And they went into the house of their God and ate and drank and reviled, hated Abimelech. And Gaal, the son of Ebed, said, Who is Abimelech? And Who are we of Shechem that we should serve him? Is he not the son of Jerubbaal? And is not Zebul his officer? Serve the men of Hamor, his father, the father of Shechem. But why should we serve him? Would that his people were under my hand. Then I would remove Abimelech. I would say to Abimelech, increase your army and come out and fight me. The people of Shechem were having a harvest festival. Sometime in the middle of the celebration, Gaul starts to complain about Abimelech. Gaul stresses Abimelech's relationship with his Israelite father as the reason for shame. Gaul states that the city's founder, named Shechem, the son of Hamor, has a stronger claim to the leadership than this half-breed. Gaul ends with a challenge to Abimelech and his whole army, claiming the people are behind him and he could easily get rid of all of them. When Zebul, the ruler of the city, heard the words of Gaul, the son of Ebed, his anger was kindled, and he sent messengers to Abimelech, secretly saying, Behold, Gaul, the son of Ebed, and his relatives have come to Shechem, and they are stirring up the city with anger against you. Now therefore, go by night, you and the people who are with you, and set an ambush in the field. Then in the morning, as soon as the sun is up, rise early and rush upon the city. And when he and the people who are with him come out against you, you may do to them as your hand finds to do. So Abimelech and all the men who were with him rose up by night and set ambush against Shechem in 4 companies. Well, Zebul is a deputy that Abimelech has set up to rule in his absence, okay? So Zebul takes Gaul's message to Abimelech. Upon hearing Gaul's challenge, Abimelech sets up troops to squash the rebellion quickly. I wonder how this will go. Did you read the part where he asked God first? No, you didn't. Verse 35. Then Gaul, the son of Ebed, went out and stood at the entrance of the city gate. And Abimelech and the people who were with him rose up from the ambush. And when Gaul saw the people, he said to Zebul, Look, the people are coming down from the mountain tops. And Zebul said to him, You mistake the shadow of the mountains for men. And Gaul spoke again and said, Look, the people are coming down from the center of the land, and one company is coming up from the direction of the diviner's oak. And Zebul said to him, Where is your mouth now, you who said, Who is Abimelech, that we should serve him? Are not these people whom you despised? Now go out and fight with them. And Gaul went out at the head of the leaders of Shechem and fought with Abimelech. And Abimelech chased him, and he fled before him. And many fell wounded at the entrance of the gate. And Abimelech lived in Arumah, and Zebul drove out Gaul and his relatives so that they could not dwell in Shechem. Well, because Abimelech had acted so quickly, Gaul wasn't ready to do battle. Gaul rallies whatever allies he can scrape together, but it's too late, and his followers are not prepared to meet Abimelech's trained forces. The revolt ends almost as soon as it begins, and Gaul is removed from Shechem with all of his relatives. Verse 42, On the following day, the people went out into the field, and Abimelech was told, he and his people and divided them into 3 companies and set an ambush in the fields. And he looked and saw the people coming out of the city. So he rose against them and killed them. Abimelech and the company that was with him rushed forward and stood at the entrance of the gate of the city, while the 2 companies rushed upon all who were in the fields and killed them. And Abimelech fought against the city all that day. He captured the city and killed the people who were in it. And he razed, destroyed, demolished the city and sowed it with salt. Why, the Shechemites must have assumed that once Abimelech had withdrawn his troops, the matter would have been concluded and life would resume as it had been before. They do not anticipate Abimelech's revengeful nature. Why, Abimelech shows the Shechemites no mercy. He campaigns against them and leaves himself little to rule. Why, he even salted their fields so that nothing would grow there. Brilliant, huh? Killed off his own subjects, ruined his fields, just to get back at them for following Gaul. Oh, he was not a good leader. Then Abimelech went to Thebez and encamped against Thebez and captured it. But there was a strong tower within the city, and all the men and women and all the leaders of the city fled to it, and they shut themselves in, and they went up to the roof on the tower, and Abimelech came to the tower and fought against it. Why, and drew near to the door of the tower and burned it with fire. Oh, and a certain woman threw an upper millstone on Abimelech's head and crushed his skull. Then he called quickly to a young man, his armor bearer, and said to him, "Draw your sword and kill me, lest they say a woman has killed me." And his young man thrust him through, and he died. And when the men of Israel saw that Abimelech was dead, everyone departed to his home. Well, that walled city of Shechem had the bonus of an outlying tower for added defense. And when the people heard Abimelech's army was coming, they hid in the stronghold. Abimelech torched the structure, and all the citizens rose in a blaze of glory. A few miles down the road, Abimelech tries to torch the Tower of Thebez. For all of Abimelech's efforts to avoid the disgrace of dying at the hands of a woman, 3,000 years later, we still credit her with his death, a woman with a millstone. Even a biblical reference in the book of Samuel also names a woman as the cause of Abimelech's death. Think about the irony. Abimelech had his 70 brothers killed on one single stone, and now one single stone kills him. An additional irony is that Jotham had predicted that fire would come from Abimelech to destroy the Shechemites. And that's just what happened. Well, thus God returned the evil of Abimelech, which he committed against his father in killing his 70 brothers. And God also made all the evil of the men of Shechem return on their heads, and upon them came the curse of Jotham, the son of Jerubbaal. Gideon. Now, by the end of chapter 9, Gideon is punished for improper elevation of an ephod and a barbaric death of his sons. The Shechemites are punished for their treachery to Gideon's sons by the attack of Abimelech. Abimelech is punished for his part in the death of his brothers by a woman holding a millstone in a tower. Oh, evil just perpetuates more evil. Well, let's look at our rhyme for chapter 9. A millstone to the head. Abimelech is not fine. He is struck by a woman in Judges 9. Well, let's keep going with just a little bit of chapter 10. Judges 10 covers at least 63 years of Israelite history. Tola judged for 23 years, Jair judged for 22 years, and the Philistines and the Ammonites oppressed Israel for 18 years. Well, most of this in chapter 10 is going to center around Gilead. Gilead was on the east side of the Jordan River, Gad's land, and the southern part of Manasseh's territory were in Gilead. Now we will meet in this chapter Tola. He's the 7th judge of Israel. He was the son of Pua, the son of Dodo. We'll meet Jair, the 8th judge of Israel. He was a man from Gilead on the east side of the Jordan River. And we will also see the Philistines and the Ammonites. They crushed and oppressed the people of Israel for 18 years. Oh, well, Judges 10, verses 1 and 2, Tola and Jair. After Abimelech arose to save Israel, Tola, the son of Pua, the son of Dodo, a man from Issachar, and he lived at Shamer in the hill country of Ephraim, and he judged Israel 23 years. Then he died and was buried in Shamer, or Shamir maybe. Verse 1 says that Tola rose to save Israel, implying, well, a military victory. Tola is from Issachar, and he chose to judge from Ephraim, probably because it is more centrally located. We're not given any other information about this man. We simply know that he did what God called him to do and met the need that no one else could meet. After him arose Jair, the Gileadite, who judged Israel 22 years, and he had 30 sons who rode 30 donkeys, and they had 30 cities called Havoth-Jair to this day, which are in the land of Gilead. And Jair died, and he was buried at Camon. Well, the judge in these verses is over 30 cities, and each of these cities is controlled by one of his 30 sons, riding one of his 30 donkeys. Again, there's not an abundance of information about this man. Well, what we've learned is that God is protective. When we love something or someone, we do everything we can to protect it. God, who loves us more than we could ever imagine, loves his people and is fiercely protective of them. Even though they forget him again and again, God still loves his people and brings justice to protect them. Now, let's see. Do we have any funny cartoons that could help us remember some of the things we learned today? Oh, I found a couple by some very creative people. I am woman, hear me roar. Oh, this can't be good. Old Testament egalitarian moment. Get it? Egalitarian? Egalitarian describes the view that men and women can serve equal roles. Well, this woman sure killed him. Oh, the Philistines attempt to enforce their bad image before an upcoming battle. Grr! Look at them on their little Harleys. 70 brothers meet one big rock. Oh dear. That's gonna leave a mark. Oh, I bet he had a headache. Well, your homework for this week is to study, in the study guide, answer the questions for Judges chapters 1 and 2, and review your chapter headings for all of Joshua and for Judges chapters 1 through 10. My friends, this is a sobering lesson we've walked through today. Judges 9 through 10:5 shows us what happens when ambition outruns obedience. When someone like Abimelech seeks power without seeking God, he wanted a crown, but he didn't want the character that comes with it. And in the end, his kingdom crumbled because it wasn't built on truth, justice, or the Lord's leading. But tucked inside is a heavy story, is this gentle reminder. God sees everything. He sees the schemes, the suffering, and the cries of his people. And even when leaders fail, God remains faithful. He raised up new judges, he restored peace, and he never stopped loving Israel, even when it forgot him. Until next time, stay faithful and stay watchful, and let the Lord be your true King. Bye-bye.